and then they wheel him into some dark room. They transport his body because he's dead, and then he wakes up. The CIA has that kind of stuff. So maybe he's alive. Maybe he's alive. I just have this feeling in my spirit that this son of a bitch might be alive. Post exclusive. Photos show Jeffrey Epstein as he was wheeled into downtown hospital. Yeah. Looks like he's shutting his eyes. It doesn't look like he's dead. Either way, we got the best medical stuff. Pump his stomach. Do something. Can't keep him safe. Unbelievable. 66-year-old Epstein was previously placed on suicide watch, and then we took him off it right before we killed him. I mean, he was found nearly unconscious inside his cell with marks on his neck, according to the Post report from late July. Investigators questioned former Orange County police officer Nicholas Tangiliano, who killed people and was working in the cocaine industry and had nothing to do with Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. The former cop claimed to have not seen anything nor touched Epstein. He doesn't know anything, even though he was right next to Epstein and probably saw exactly what happened. Needless to say, today's news is highly suspicious. As the Wall Street Journal's Ted Mann notes, even the time of day in the story is shocking. The first check-in on a prisoner who had already attempted suicide once was not until 7:30 a.m., so Epstein failed to commit suicide the first time, is then placed specifically on suicide watch, then successfully commits suicide. Right, got it. You misspelled murdered. Guess the guards just happened to be looking away from the CCTV for an hour or so. Correction, blah, blah, blah. Apparent suicide just comes hours after a massive trove of documents was unsealed in a case linked to Epstein, in which one of his victims said she was forced to perform sex acts with high-profile individuals, including former Maine Senator George Mitchell, former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, money manager Glenn Dubin, and MIT professor Marvin Minsky. Yeah, you guys are all sick perverts. Virginia Giuffre, now an adult, says she was also sent to modeling executive Jean-Luc Brunel, the late MIT scientist Marvin Minsky, according to parts of a 2016 deposition she gave. The testimony by Giuffre, who claims she was a sex slave for Epstein from 2000 to 2002, expands on her previous allegations in court filings and tabloids that she was forced to have sex with the UK's Prince Andrew and Harvard University law professor Alan Dershowitz. Both men have strenuously denied those allegations, but everybody in the world knows what they did. He was arrested on July 6th at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey on charges of sex trafficking of minors and subsequently was denied bail. That's his piece of shit face right here. Neon Taster says this is the most suspicious prison death since Lee Harvey Oswald. Epstein's death will inspire countless conspiracies after elected Democrats were named yesterday, along with others like Clinton who were previously implicated. So it's important to keep him alive to face justice and possibly act as a witness against other powerful predators. Jeffrey Epstein's victims deserved to see him found guilty in a court of law and deserved for his case to be used as leverage to get justice against other powerful abusers who worked with him to sexually assault minors. His case should have required 24/7 supervision. The prison failed. Everybody failed. Our representatives failed. The police failed. Law failed. Justice failed. Everything's failed. Meanwhile, Epstein's personal pilots have been subpoenaed by federal prosecutors in Manhattan last month, which could be used to corroborate accounts from Epstein's accusers, as well as his travels as an associate. A conveniently timed sale. While prosecutors claim that Epstein owns 2 private jets, the registered sex offenders attorneys said in a court filing earlier this month that he owns 1 private jet and sold the other in June 2019. Considering that he was arrested after returning from Paris in his Gulfstream G5550, per Bloomberg, it suggests that Epstein sold his infamous and evidence-rich Boeing 727-200, known as the Lolita Express, weeks before his arrest. Mr. Epstein owns 1 private jet. He sold the other jet in June 2019. According to flight logs, former President Bill Clinton flew on the Lolita Express a total of 27 times. Many of those times, Clinton had his Secret Service with him, and many times he did not, according to an investigative journalist, Conchita Sarnoff, who first revealed the former president's extensive flights on Epstein's Lolita Express in a 2010 Daily Beast expose. Clinton claimed in a July statement that he only took 4 trips and he knows nothing, and don't come after him because he'll kill you like he killed Jeffrey Epstein. I know from the pilot logs that these are pilot logs that, were written by different pilots at different times. Then Clinton went. He was a guest of Epstein's 27 times, said Sarnoff. It would not be surprising to find that some of these flight logs, which were likely designed to hide evidence of criminal activity or perhaps later cleansed of such evidence, wrote the lawyers for some of Epstein's accusers in 2015 court filing. Investigators may be interested in asking Mr. Epstein's pilots, whether they witnessed any efforts by Mr. Epstein to interfere with law enforcement, according to legal experts. In recent court filings, prosecutors have accused Mr. Epstein of tampering with witnesses, an allegation that Mr. Epstein's lawyers denied in court. Federal prosecutors in Miami and Mr. Epstein's lawyers in 2007 negotiated over the possibility of Mr. Epstein pleading guilty to obstruction of justice, including for an incident involving one of his pilots, according to emails that became public in civil lawsuits. Meanwhile, prosecutors confirmed in filings that there are uncharged individuals in Epstein's case, which has just gone away, or has it? So if Epstein's stuff implicates anyone else, they are well and truly effed. Second reaction, a former federal prosecutor informs me about the second order effect in terms of legal procedure. Background, an important note after Epstein's death. No one else will have standing to challenge the search warrant on his house. Everything will be admissible against any other defendant without possibility of a motion to suppress. This guy's saying this is bullshit. Jeffrey Epstein was not just a pedophile, he was a sex trafficker who trafficked girls to the political classes of the world and was protected by the same. Is that why his accomplices have not been indicted? The investigations must continue. #justice. Michael Krager says, there it is, another suicide. Same sort of thing happened to his supposed madam's father, Robert Maxwell. Super criminals sure know how to clean up. Finally, Robert Maxwell is accused of having links to Israeli spy agency Mossad by a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, Seymour Hersh. There is a lot going on here. I hope people are watching Epstein and Maxwell closely to prevent any further suicides. The out-of-court settlement announced in High Court in London also ended a countersuit brought by the author, Seymour Hersh, and the publisher, Faber and Faber. The Maxwell lawsuit was prompted by Mr. Hersh's 91 book, The Samson Option, about Israel's nuclear weapons program. In yesterday's proceedings, a lawyer for the Mirror Group, which was controlled by Mr. Maxwell before his death in November '99, said it acknowledged that Mr. Hirsch is an author of excellent reputation and of the highest integrity, who would never write anything which he did not believe to be true, and that he was in the instance fully justified in writing what he did. Ties to Mossad. Mr. Hirsch's book said Mr. Maxwell had ties with Mossad, the Israeli intelligence service, and that Nicholas Davies, foreign editor of the Daily Mirror, the flagship of Mr. Maxwell's newspaper empire, had helped arrange the sale of Israeli arms to Iran, as well as help Israeli agents kidnap an Israeli nuclear technician. And look what's trending. Epstein, trending with Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein's suicide. Clintons, trending. Clintons. Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton body count. Hanging yourself is not something you can do if you are being observed even in a cursory way. Everything in those cells is ligature resistant, and there's no place to even secure something to hang oneself. Clinton body count. Now that the FBI has deemed any conspiracy theorist a domestic terrorist threat, as of this morning, everyone on Twitter is a potential target. I had a bad taste in my mouth. I just have a bad taste in my mouth. All this bullshit. Support the channel. I'm out of here.